Are you thinking of becoming an audio engineer, or perhaps you've just graduated from a music and an audio school? If so, this video is for you. Greetings all, my name is JD from Studio 2105. Welcome back to Direct Access MixStream and a brand new episode of Weekly Update Wednesdays. Thank you for visiting my channel. If you are brand new here, warm welcome to you. I want to say a big shout out and thank you to the patrons who have been supporting the channel financially. Do check out the rest of the videos that I have on my channel as well. And if you're not yet a subscriber, I would really appreciate it if you could click on the subscribe button and also on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any of my brand new videos. Do sign up for the email list, and if you want to become a patron, do head on down to the website below. Link is also going to be in the description. I'm just getting into audio engineering. If there's any advice on how to grow my career as an audio engineer, shoot it my way, please. To be honest, I've been putting off making this video for quite some time. I hesitated doing this video as I was actually asked this question in the middle of the pandemic, right around 2020, 2021. I felt I wasn't really able to give any useful information aside from what I had already covered in a previous video, right? Do check it out. But now that many countries in the world have come out of lockdown, right? We're now in 2022. It feels that we finally turned the corner, and here's what I would share with you. Number one, consider all opportunities in audio and have multiple career paths. In the past, the usual goal for someone getting into the audio industry was to be a specialist, right? One would aspire either to be a mixer, a recording engineer, a mastering engineer, or an expert in some other field of audio. But as the music business evolved, so did the audio industry, and the audio professional of today needs to have multiple skill sets and not be limited to a certain specialization or aspect of audio engineering. This means you need to do live sound, corporate gigs, weddings, you need to know how to do live streaming, podcasts, edit podcasts, maybe even DJing, right? And if you have the skill, create content for social media. Number two, think of your job as a service provider. I feel that it is very helpful to adopt this attitude, to consider ourselves as providing a service to our clients and doing everything and anything possible to make the client happy and to get the job done. Now, during the past 2 years, many artists and musicians have been recording from home, while most have been welcomed back into the studios, There's still quite a number of people who have perhaps fully embraced the home recording aspect of things. Maybe they, have adapted their workflow and their work style to work remotely from home. Now, this means though that your services now are no longer, confined to, the walls of a studio. This also may now entail going the extra mile, going to your client's home, to help them to solve any kind of technical issues, that they may face, whether in their equipment, their recording setup, guide them through any issues, help to troubleshoot, teach them the basics of recording, share with them your tips and your tricks. Now, in this day and age of YouTube and accessible information, it's just foolish to not want to share your knowledge, due to some whatever unfounded worry that they're going to steal your knowledge or steal your business away. To me, this is very counterproductive. A wise mentor of mine once said, the more good knowledge that goes around, the more good work gets done. Instead, I find, from my personal experience, that they'll keep coming back to you, for not just the work that you can deliver to them, but also all of this added value that you bring. Number three, network, and network. Now that live music is back, make it a point to visit your clubs and your local venues. If one thing that has taught us, is that, just relying on social media and, online stream performances is quite a poor substitute for the real life experience of watching a singer perform live on stage. Now, if you see a new act that you like, be it a solo performer of a band, and, right, this is an important point, that act has got good songs and can deliver a good stage performance, start building a relationship with them. Offer your services, perhaps, help them, right, on the road, mixing their live shows, help them to record their music, right, produce the demos, etc. Be mindful though, right, don't just pick any random act out there. You want to, right, put on a little bit of a producer / right, A&R hat. Pick your talents, right? You want to actually scout for talents that you want to work with that have good songs, as I mentioned, good performance, but also with the right set of values and work ethics. You want to hitch your wagon on the right act because you want to invest your time and energy into one that has the potential to make it into business. Right? You want to work with someone who's serious. You don't want to, work with a band who's just kind of just doing it for fun or has got no long-term goals in mind, okay? These are things that you want to think about. Hopefully, as they grow into their career, they will also elevate you along with them. But remember though, and this is very important, always approach things from a place of sincerity. You want to work with an act because you truly love them and you believe in their music, right? And not just looking to try and make money out of the relationship. If you're just being a leech, look, somewhere along the line you'll be sniffed out, and trust me, right, word gets around quick. And all of this leads me to my final point. Number 4, work with your local studios. With many countries coming out of lockdown, right, the traditional career paths of getting into a studio, right, or getting into live sound has once again become a possible and a viable option. I think enough has been said about the usual opportunities, working as studio runners, assistants, sound crew, etc. It doesn't really bear repeating here now. We can read and you can watch countless videos on this subject matter. Instead, right, I want to talk about something else. The studio business model has, drastically changed the past 2 decades or so. With the shift towards digital medium, right, the growth of home recording, shrinking budgets, right, studios have long already been finding it hard to hire full-time staff, right? And this has already been the case since, right, even before the pandemic hit. When I came out of music college, there were barely any jobs at hand, and those that were available barely paid minimum wage, okay? Instead, engineers were hired mostly on a part-time or a freelance basis, and with the stiff competition, only the best or the most determined, right, would usually be the ones that make it in the industry. Now, this is where the different way of thinking comes in. Remember the network of contacts that I've been asking you to build? Don't forget, right, to include folks such as audio engineers, producers, and studio owners. This is where you come in to bridge the gap between the music acts, right? The solo singers, right? The performers, the bands that you've come across with the access to recording facilities and the people with the technical know-how. Hopefully, the musicians that you've been working with have been hard at work writing songs. If they haven't, okay, make sure that they start right now. When it comes time to produce a record, this is where you can bring the project into a studio. Many studios can offer lower rates and flexible sessions, right, to both independent acts and also freelance producers and engineers. Or, right, as an alternative for maybe long-term work or bigger scale projects, right, work on a revenue share basis. I had been working out of my apartment for a couple of years when the opportunity availed itself to work at the biggest studio in town. I came up with a proposal to bring my home studio business over to Synchro Sound Studios in Petaling Jaya, Malaysia. At the time, Synchro Sound Studios was one of the largest studios in Asia. Right? It spanned 35,000 square feet with 9 studios, all equipped with state-of-the-art recording equipment. Unfortunately, due to economic factors, the studio was struggling to keep afloat. And during its last days, right, was barely keeping the lights on. Long story short, thanks to the recommendation of Greg Henderson, I approached the studio with the idea of bringing my projects and my existing clientele to Synchro Sound, right, as a freelancer and working on a revenue share basis. In return, I was given access to one of the several unused rooms there. In fact, I was given Studio 1, which was the largest studio available. Right, imagine being allowed to work in a beautifully designed control room with a live room that was so big that it could fit an entire orchestra. On top of that, access to some of the available equipment that included, right, some of the most high-end vintage microphones, outboard, and so much more. Not only that, I was in an environment surrounded by a community of highly experienced producers, engineers, and musicians. For example, Peter Chong, Roslan Aziz, and of course Greg Henderson as well. All of them who were working in the adjacent studios at that time. And being the junior guy, right, I was then also sometimes handed work or projects that either they either didn't have the time to do or wasn't the right budget for them. Moving my operations into a dedicated space, right, really elevated my standing right in the business, not only because of the access to the recording facilities, but simply because of the environment, the whole air, right, of professionalism that working in a real studio space gave. I was able to work with bigger names, higher caliber musicians, deliver higher quality work, vastly improve both my audio engineering and my music business skills. But also very importantly, because of all that, I was able to increase my rates. As much as the appeal of the home studio is there are just some things that can't be done at home. Like for example, unless you have the necessary space, the necessary sound isolation, and of course the budget and the money to install that, it will be quite hard to record live drums at home or in an apartment. If you're at a point of your career growth where you feel that you're hitting a plateau, I highly recommend considering working with a studio, or at the very least develop a relationship with them where you are able to do some of the work, where it takes some of the proportion of your projects, right, to work it at perhaps tracking live drums and vocals. Now, for example, here at my studio, we run the Workspace program, when some of the records that have come out of this program, right, included Loco's hit single Pujaan Hati, Spooky Wet Dreams, right, latest album Dewa Kotoraya, and other independent bands such as Perry and the Bridge, Color Heart, and many more. This is something that you would want to think about if you're an up-and-coming producer. There are all these other points and other career advice that's available out there that you can easily read about or you can research. But this is one that's not often mentioned, but has already been sort of the business model for many studios, right? Freelance engineers and freelance producers for as long as I can remember. Look, as I mentioned, even when I graduated and came out of music audio school, the job market was already like that. All the more now for any one of you out there who's just coming out of music school or audio school right now here in 2022 or in the future. If you're an up-and-coming engineer or producer and you're looking for the opportunity to grow your career, plus be able to move out of a home studio environment into a professional studio space, get in touch with your local nearby studio. Get in touch with me. Right? This is something that you can definitely explore out there and consider as well. So that's all from me for this question. Hopefully you found this useful and informative. I'm really passionate about making the audio career something sustainable, especially for new up-and-coming engineers and producers out there. Hopefully whatever advice or information that you found has been helpful. If you did, please do leave a like. Please do share this with your fellow audio and music production friends out there. Maybe they'll find some useful advice in this video as well. If you're not yet a subscriber, please do click on the subscribe button. Once again, do consider becoming a patron. I'll see you again in another video real soon. Stay safe and happy and healthy. Happy recording and mixing. Peace, love, and music.